regarding distribution in America. I know something about that. I don't know much about distribution in India or in Europe. But there are several different types of distribution. You could have a mainstream distribution to everyone. There are also distribution channels that go to NRIs. For instance, if you wanted to see the popular thing called Doom Free, which is just out here, it's in 32 theaters in California right now. So, but that's the kind of thing that gets promoted. They had Chennai Express before, it went a lot of theaters. And the other way, which I think is more relevant to the people here, is through individual film festivals,
website.
both the general film festivals, and there also are in the States, and I'll tell you what they are in a couple minutes, there are film festivals devoted to Indian films. That is films from India. And there's about 10 of them in the United States, and all they show is films made in India. These are smallish festivals, but they get people looking for good films. Go there, they draw an audience of people from India who live in America, of Indian Americans who grew up in America, and also people like me, lots of other people who aren't Indian but are interested. So those are three different things. Now, in America, the producers only survive if they make more money than they lose. So with your thing of somebody producing 4 films a year, they probably figure 1 or 2 of them are going to lose money, maybe 1 or 2 are going to make money, and maybe 1 is going to make a lot of money. That's what they hope. If they lose a lot of films in a row, they're out of business. They're broke. Their house is sold. They, have to move in with their cousin or something. So when a producer or a company is considering a film, they do what's called a P&L statement. It's a profit and loss statement. They have all these lawyers and people who run through things on a computer and come up with how much is it going to cost us to do this film and how much are we going to get back. It's all projections. There's no guarantee. This is what they predict. And on the basis of that, they decide what films they want to do. And this is the king in America. The money. That's what they're interested in, the money. If it's not going to make money, they're not interested. But there are a few people who are interested in some other things. For instance, there was a film that came out this year, an Indian film, and it was going to go straight to video. And some independent producer said, maybe I can make some money on this. Let me try to do something. So he got the rights to this movie, and he released it in just a few theaters. People loved it. Expanded to more theaters, more theaters, more theaters, more theaters. That's the lunchbox. That was going straight to video. Because it didn't have any stars anybody knew. It wasn't set in any place people knew. It was in Bombay that people didn't know. That happened. That's unusual. But so and it had stars here, and I think Irfan Khan did a fabulous job in that movie. But he's not known in America. And the main reason that people go to movies, both in India and in the United States, how people choose what movie to go to is who's in it, which means what male star. Here in India, if it has Amitabh or SRK, the film's going to sell. People are going to go. In the United States, if it has somebody like Brad Pitt or Will Smith or something, people are going to go. Generally. Now, sometimes they're wrong on that. We had a film this year starring Johnny Depp called The Lone Ranger. They spent $225 million making the film and almost as much marketing it. And it had the whole cast and the stars of Pirates of the Caribbean, and had that director. It had all these explosions and people fighting and shooting and all kinds of stuff. Well, my major newspaper, the San Francisco Chronicle, said it was the worst film of 2013. Nobody went to it. Nobody. It was a total bomb, and they did it because it had a big star. But that's how they judge what films they want. Who's in it? So it gets driven by the star. Now, in America, the people who know about films from India, who aren't many, mostly know of Bollywood films. They think Indian films are like 3 hours long, and it's a lot of some story, some romance, and then they break, and they're dancing and singing, and then you go back to sort of part of the story. That's what they think of Indian films. The same way people in India only see the Hollywood blockbusters. They think, you know, the George Lucas films are the films. And that's true, they are the big Hollywood. There are lots of other things. There's the whole parallel cinema and the independent cinema and the documentaries, a whole lot of other things going on. Generally, not with a whole lot of money, but that doesn't mean they're lousy films. Just like your film student who did a thing. I was at the Kerala Film Festival, and they gave the Audience Award and also the best, I think, international film to a young filmmaker from Argentina. He started making the film when he was 22. He finished when he was 25. Everybody worked for free. Everybody. He worked for free. All the stars, the people who did the sets, everything. His total budget for everything was about $10,000. It took them 3 years because they only could shoot on weekends because they were all working and going to school. But it won a couple of prizes and it may go somewhere. It's called Errata. So things are possible. And that's an independent film. Now, another reality is Americans speak English. Not well all the time, but we speak American English. So a film in Kannada is not less appealing than a film in Hindi because not many people in America speak either. Not many people in America, even though Indians are now about 1% of the American population. You may not know this, but Indians in America have the highest per capita income of any group. Partly because a whole lot of them are single guys who work in Silicon Valley and they earn an enormous amount of money. But there is this population of Indians in America, and they're very eager for Indian culture, including movies. And some of these areas have lots of Indian restaurants, etc. So, and they're very also high-tech oriented, like Bangalore. And they're very involved and know about the whole thing of the digital things and what people are using. Just like this man here, Pavan Kumar, who did his film Raising the Money by Crowdsourcing. That's a new thing that's coming. And what he's doing by raising the money doing this, he's also at the same time building an audience. He's hyping it basically for free. He's getting all that publicity and people are talking about it and hearing about it, which costs him practically nothing, just a little time on the internet. So I want to say also that there are some crossover films, films that are sort of between America and India and through England. And the two I think of are Gandhi and Slumdog Millionaire, which were both enormous hits critically and financially. They come through England. And there's also 3 crossover women who live outside of India who have successful careers both in America and other places. So the women I'm thinking of are Deepa Mehta, who lives in Canada now. Mira Nair. She lives in New York. And Garinda Chadha, who lives in London. And they all have a background. They grew up in India, but they now live somewhere else, and they're kind of international. So, along with a new thing, there's some new films, new people who are doing things like Ashim Adwalia, who did Miss Lovely, which got a prize in Cannes. It's wonderful. It's getting released in the States in January. He was filmmaker in residence earlier this year, 2013, which was when I met him, in San Francisco. He was the artist in residence of the San Francisco Film Festival. And he had to fight the censors for over a year. They wanted him to cut out almost everything. And then Ashim had an advantage in that he had gone to college in America. So he spent 4 years in America as kind of a teenager growing up and really understands American society, has an international kind of point of view, as does Ritesh Batra, who's from here,